I remember I was sitting in a meeting with a fairly large company. They have about an 8 to 10 person marketing team, massive sales team. They're a massive business, and they had no idea where their leads were coming from. And it just blew my mind. This is actually a pretty prevalent issue that is happening all over the world for many businesses where they are running multi-channel strategies, and they literally have no idea which channel is truly getting a new top of funnel qualified lead or even sales. And so I wanted to just break down just a very basic framework, being able to start to figure that out. And so this is just a podcast, a recording on what are the 3 steps that you need to take in order to really start to answer the question, where are my leads actually coming from? And so here's the 3 things. The first thing is setting up server-side tracking. So if you're running Meta, if you're running Google, they're based off of these conversion tracking. Most conversion tracking is based off of cookies, and you really need to start implementing server-side tracking, which goes beyond the 7-day cookie window. So Meta is pretty much on a 7-day attribution window based off of the tracking that most companies are using. So you need to start to leverage server-side tracking. There's definitely a lot of different ways to do this. Stape.io is great for lead gen. Blotout is really good for e-commerce. I would really recommend them. But being able to see beyond the 7 days, it's really not very common for someone to purchase on the first day that they see an ad. And so it's important to be able to see beyond the 7-day cookie window, especially when you're dealing with longer times to purchase. And so that would be the first thing, is to really get server-side tracking implemented. The second thing would be to start incrementality testing. And now you can't do this without doing the third step, which I'll get to in just a second. But just good old fashioned, like being able to 5x the budget on a specific channel one day and then bring it back down and then measure by the specific conversion lag. So you can do that with geo-targeting methods. So raise the budget in a specific location and just see what happens and how long it takes for things to start to come through, whether it's leads or sales, or if any, in fact, do come in. And if they don't, then you can see there that the efficacy of that specific marketing campaign is really not very good. And so being able to just do old fashioned, being able to see how that's working. Now, if you're using like smart bidding, target ROAS on Google, if you're doing like higher volume on Meta, or setting even like bid caps or cost caps, then you're going to want to start to understand, is all of that traffic returning users? Because that's typically what it's going to go after unless you start to exclude. And even when you start excluding, it's really going to be very tough to actually go after true top of funnel cold traffic that's never heard about you before. So you can use attribution software. It is quite expensive. You can get around it and not necessarily use attribution software if you want to try and figure out what is effective, but it's going to take longer to figure out what's effective. There's lots of different solid attribution softwares that will be able to help you understand and really start to help you measure beyond the 7-day cookie windows, because they use server-side tracking, a lot of them. And you'll be able to start to see, okay, this campaign is driving this many new visits, et cetera. So you'll really want to start to look at that. And the third thing would be running post-purchase surveys, because here's the thing with in 2025, it is absolutely terrible. Attribution, even within these ad platforms, they actually tend to even start to take credit for each other's work. And I think that the customer journey is fairly complex too. So you're really going to want to need to think about, how are people ultimately finding your brand, and then where do they convert? What is a typical path to conversion? And so the thing is, if you don't figure out where your leads are coming from, you're going to continue to lose revenue and believe that you're spending on all these different channels and continue to have your revenue decrease, and you're just going to throw up your hands and say, I don't know. And so these are 3 very simple steps to start to figure that out. Because if you can solve attribution and really understand where things are coming from, then you're going to be able to grow your business. And if you can't solve that problem, if you can't really reach new customers, new people, then you're going to be stuck, and you won't be able to grow. And so, if you have any questions about how to do this, how to get started on this, reach out to me. I'd love to discuss this with you. It's important. This is only going to get worse. Attribution is only going to get worse in 2025, 2026, and beyond. And these platforms are just going after warm traffic so that you continue to spend more in those platforms. And so it's important to really start to get the answers to these questions and realize what is actually truly effective within your multimedia channel mix. If you want any sort of resources, if you want to try and figure out how to take shopping campaigns and maintain control over that, I've got a really good resource for you here. If you are looking for a automated negative keyword script that can help you stay focused on the keywords that are really effective for your campaigns, I've got something right here for you. And in the future, I've actually got some really cool resources coming out. And so I'd love for you to just stay connected with me, and I want to help grow your business. So give me any sort of feedback, thoughts, opinions about what you feel like you need that you aren't getting. And I'd love to hear what challenges you're facing and how I can help. And can't wait to talk with you next week, and we'll discuss further strategies within each platform in the future. Hey everyone, this is Artur McClellan, and I've actually become the guy that agencies hire when they get stuck with your ad account. This is the Google Ads and Meta Ads Strategies podcast and YouTube channel where I actually talk about how to grow your business. These ad platforms are constantly changing, so I not only go through strategies that I'm currently using, but actually challenges that I've faced through many of these ad accounts that I manage. So most of my content, I'm actually sharing my screen and walking through how to practically diagnose and make decisions. So if you're listening on this podcast, make sure you hop over to the YouTube channel so that you can watch along. If you haven't already, make sure you leave a review, subscribe, share, so that these platforms push this out to more people who are trying to figure out the complexities of driving traffic and how to actually grow their business.